This is not right, and this is not right no matter what way you do it or who you get to say it. To run people off their own land in their own country that work hard, and worked hard I did all my life, and to come home and to say you're not entitled to live in this area anymore, but we have nothing for you. You're basically taking a hard working man that spent the last 30 years of his life in a hard trade and basically thrown him to the side of the road.
Gript media have seen documentation from South Dublin County Council outlining its refusal to grant the McDonough family retention permission in respect of their home. South Dublin County Council say the structure does not adhere to regional planning guidelines. They say that granting retrospective planning permission would set an undesirable precedent, as well as leading to a demand for uneconomical provision of services in the area.
Brendan and Evelina. Brendan, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about the trouble you've been having in regards to your home here behind us?
We've had 7 years of court cases of trying to get planning permission for retention for this place, and we have nothing but constant failures, and I just think can't fit the criteria to live in the area, seemingly. I've lived here all my life, the last 44 years, my father before me and his father before him, but they don't seem to want to give me planning permission for anything.
You've applied for retention permission from South Dublin County Council in respect of the cabin.
I have. I've applied 3 times. 3 times for planning permission and twice to One Board Penala. To say I would do anything, I would done surveys of the ditches, the roads, the corners, upgrade the sewer system for the 2 houses, even though the 2 houses is well able to manage on the one that's there. I went to address everything. I wanted to work with the council as much as I could, but it just constantly kept getting refused.
And the situation is that you have an existing family home here.
Yes.
And now to look after your mother who passed away 2 weeks ago from cancer. Yes. You wanted to live
Stay
here.
here and be by her side all the time, which made it very hard for us to do. Mum's the best in the world. This place was very close to us. She used to come down to us all the time and call in with the kids and do a lot of stuff with us, and she was always here. So we wanted to be here for her, to care for her needs right to the very end. But they made that very, very hard for us to do that.
In terms of trying to gain retention permission for your home, you did everything that you were asked.
I put everything I had into this place for my 2 kids and my wife. We only got married there in September, and we were basically made homeless in January, the end of January.
And have the council offered you an alternative living?
Nothing. They had nothing to offer us. We went to the council, they told us they have nothing for us. I was on to Owen O'Brien. I was on to loads of politicians over the years, and Owen O'Brien said to me they had nothing. They might have a B&B for me in Gardner Street. This is at the end of January. They said we might have a room in Gardner Street. If not, there might be something in Swords, he said, the following night. And I'm saying, but my kids go to school in Britis. This is the only place they know. They don't know Gardner Street or Swords. I don't even know them areas, I said.
And we can see behind us that there's a skip. Can you tell us what's in the skip and why it's there?
The insides of my house. We have till the end of this month, the end of July, to gut the house and take it down. We can't afford to get contractors in to take the house down.
And what happens if you don't gut it and take it down by the end?
I've been threatened with prison.
They'll put you in jail?
They'll put me in jail. And then they said if Evelina stayed in the house, they'd be coming after her as well.
And Evelina, you've 2 quite young children. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
We have a daughter 9 years of age and a little son 5 years of age. And ever since we have them, we've never been left alone. It's quite hard for us, for kids, as a family to go through such a horrible thing where you can't believe that you can actually keep your home. Such a devastating moment for us as well to take the cabin down, which we actually put everything into it what we ever had. That was our little home. Kids were happy in it, we were happy in it. We were helping Brendan's parents as well and Mammy through the cancer, and we basically been made homeless.
And this has been going on how long?
7 years.
7 years?
7 years, since 2017. May 2017 we moved into this house, and within a week we had the council coming straight up on top of us, so they were right up on top of us straight away.
Can you explain a little bit about the septic tank? I understand that there are actually less people living on this area of land now than when the septic tank was given permission.
I'm one of 8 kids. So when the council originally built my parents' house back in '89, there was 8 kids and 2 parents. Obviously 10 people using the septic tanks. That was the septic tank that was put in. There was only 3 people in my parents' house now and 4 people down here, like 2 kids and myself and Evelina. So there's less people using the tank now. But that's not but they said that's a problem. So I said if that is an issue, we can upgrade it to a new biocycle to run the 2 houses. That's not a problem. But there's less people using the tank now than there was when you put it in. you know.
And that didn't?
They didn't. We wanted to work with them on every aspect we could. I thrown everything at them to say, could we do this, could we do that? Basically, I was just constantly getting refused. We're putting application in, 3 applications in, putting a lot of money into them, paying architects, engineers, survey people, the planners, solicitors, barristers. Then I ended up having to pay their barristers, their solicitors. And we don't have money. We don't have a lot of money. We have nothing, like. And I'm trying to work to do this and rear my family as well. And I'm just being financially lashed out, you could say, in court. And there's no help, there's no guidelines. I can't afford to take it to the High Court. I know it's wrong, but I just can't afford to keep funding everything. The money's just not there.
It was absolutely terrible to even hear it before Christmas, actually. We've been told that, and we were saying, oh my God, what are we going to do, like, just before Christmas? What are we going to say to kids? Like, it's absolutely horrible. I don't wish anybody to actually go through whatever we're going through. My kids are small, but they aware about the situation, and it's hard for everybody. They go to local school, you know, they have friends here, they have their own little life in here. And yeah, it's just absolutely terrible for them to don't have that kind of, like, you know, safeness, and see us as a mommy and daddy, we can actually provide them a safe home. I even develop anxiety problems.
Oh, Evelina got anxiety from all this, by the way.
Yeah, it is quite difficult to deal with, because I'm actually on the medication. Just probably the stress, what I was dealing with and whatever, like, you know, and our second child arrived in that, I think it was a December before, 1 month before Colin was actually born. We were going through the court case as well, and then we kept our house for another whatever while, but it was just too much, way too much on me.
Stress,
and I ended up
anxiety. She's still on tablets for it.
With panic attacks and stuff.
So whatever, no matter what you did, you just felt like you were kind of kicking the can down the road.
It was absolutely stressful. Like, it was the most horrible. That's supposed to be the most beautiful time for any mother, any parents to have to start a new beginning and have a little home and whatever. Even if it was a log cabin. It was enough for us. It was our home. And, you know, just be happy to see the kids growing up, and you just supposed to have a joy out of it. Like, you know, it was constantly something in the back of your head. Oh my God, what's going to be next? What's going to happen? You know, when the next time we're going to go to the court? And it was just too much. And then my health as well.
Taking photographs.
Went downhill, because it's not such a nice thing to deal with. Like, you know, when somebody just knocks your door and threaten you with the courts and jails and all that stuff. So quite sad.
What's next for you now? You've obviously started to strip the thing bare.
I have to. I can't take the risk on going to prison, because I'm just getting sick of the threats all the time. I'm getting sick of the court dates. Everything's breaking me down as much as they can. Financially, it's not good. Mentally, it's not good. I'm strong. I can take a lot of it, but it's not good for the kids. It's not good for Evelina to put her through this. Ever since Mia was 2 years of age, we have had nothing but only court dates for the last 7 years, and I just can't do it anymore.
And reading through some of the documents from South Dublin County Council, I can see that they've said, like, as you mentioned there a few minutes ago, that you haven't displayed a social or economic need to live in the area, and also that your cabin is an eyesore.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that. To me, to live in the area, I do. I lived here and I work in this area all my life. My first job was in any fabrication down the road, metal fabrication shop. I've worked on all the local farms. I've serviced all the local quarries. I'm a welder by trade. So these people constantly ring me on a daily basis. So I support all the companies. Them companies have all sent letters into South Dublin County Council.
I understand also that this area is a high amenity zone, meaning that it's, you know, it's quite beautiful. There's natural things that they want to preserve, and just not to, I suppose, overbuild in the area, or not to put too much of a strain on the amenities available. And yet
On Board Penala actually supported that when the council said that my house was an eyesore to the area. On Board Penala actually looked at it back then and said it was not an eyesore to the area, as for it cannot be seen through the tree lines. It could not be seen. So on Board Penala I have that on paper.
And about 2 kilometres down the road, there's an iPass centre that has hundreds of asylum seekers in it. In this,
yeah, well, that's another thing done by the government. It's nothing to do with me. I'm not racist in any way whatsoever. Only thing I care about is my family and their well-being. We're after been through enough. I don't know who these people are that are putting in. We're living in a very rural part of Dublin, and it's we don't know the people that's walking up the roads past us all the time. You know, I don't have anything against them personally. I don't, but I think if they can't be doing this to the local people, like, we feel like we're outnumbered in our community right now.
I suppose when you look at what the government has done in terms of suspending planning permission in order to let IPAS establish places to house international protection applicants, how do you feel when you know your own cabin here,
It's been taken down.
is, you know, you're being essentially forced off your own land because your family does own this land? Is that correct?
Yes.
How does that make you feel, knowing the kind of?
I feel I've been done hard by. I've been done really bad. Like, this is not right, and this is not right no matter what way you do it or who you get to say it. To run people off their own land in their own country that work hard, and worked hard I did all my life, and to come home and to say you're not entitled to live in this area anymore, but we have nothing for you. You're basically taking a hard working man that spent the last 30 years of his life in a hard trade and basically throwing him to the side of the road. Don't care for kids, they don't have any meaning, they have nowhere for my kids to go. They still don't have anywhere for my kids to go. It's at the mercy of a very good friend of mine that we have a shelter over our head. Nothing to do with South Dublin County Council or the courts. Nobody was able to put anything in play. This was all put to them. They had no answers. I think it's disgusting on their behalf.
And your family has been in the area since your great-grandfather came here?
Yes.
So that's 3-4 generations now?
We
with
have
your
4
kids?
generations of McDonagh's here on this lane. All decent people, all working hard. Everyone's nearly self-employed. I had to give up my self-employment as a welder because I was entitled to nothing, and I can't afford to pay out $2,500 rent. I still can't get a house to get on a HAP scheme set up. I'm basically still in limbo.
The lane is actually called McDonagh's Way, isn't it? Because
The lane is actually called McDonagh's Lane after our family. You know, my grandfather owned all the land up here on the right and up on the left-hand side up here since 1952. So it's coming to the stage now. I'm the first person in Britain to be evicted off private land ever in Britain.
So someone who's been here for now just 4th generation, your family are here now with your kids, and yet you're being told that you don't have a social need to live in the area.
Yeah, but yet all the companies use me constantly in the area to support the local farms, to support the local quarry industry, because all the quarries are up around here. They're all along the N81. So I do, obviously I do, but they fail to ring them people to make sure all that information I gave them was correct, but they didn't.
There's basically no person who actually wouldn't know who Brendan is. Like, you know, they have so many older people here, like, you know, they always can ring Brendan if they need anything to be fixed in the house or something. They will always have something good to say about him. Mm-hmm. And anybody who ever asks us, like, you know, our situation about the cabin, like, they are absolutely disgusted. And we've been also told that even if you would be putting like any petition with all the signs, like from the local people, they want us staying here. We were saying no, that's not going to help anything.
Sorry, Evelina. I asked the local people. I said to Owen O'Brien and that I'm going to get a petition of everybody in Britain to sign a petition for me to save my house. And he said it's not going to work. It won't work. So I said, how can the council have total control over an area when everyone in the area is saying something totally different? And he says, that's just the way it is. Now, I don't believe that's the way it is. These are our communities. These are our people, our neighbours. They have a voice. And every one of them around here is angered over my situation. I meet strange people and they hear about my situation and they're distraught. They don't know what to think. They said it can't be true.
And have any of you've mentioned Owen O'Brien, but any of your other local representatives tried to make petitions on your behalf, or have you gotten any help?
I went to them all. I went to Fine Gael. Fine Gael, believe it or not, was the only one that couldn't help me. Emer, next door neighbour, Emer turned around and said she couldn't help me, that I was gone too far. I said that's fine. I went to Sinn Féin, Owen O'Brien, nothing they could do. I emailed Mary Lou MacDonald personally. We sent on all the emails. She just put it back onto Owen O'Brien. Owen O'Brien came back with there's nothing he can do. There's nothing for me. There is nothing for you. But I tell him I'm going homeless with the 2 kids. There's nothing we can do, Brendan. The council don't have anything. The council are telling me they don't have anything. But they were in such a panic to take us from our house, from our home. If they don't have anything, why take us from our home unless they have something to give us? You know, if you're going to take it down, you want it down that much? Okay, where do you want these kids? Where do you want my family to go?
And I suppose when they don't have a house to essentially let you walk into, I mean, what is the justification for putting you out of this place when they don't have alternative accommodation for you? Is it better?
I couldn't see the logic in it. I don't see it. None of it makes any sense to me. If you don't have a place for a family and they're in a dwelling, whether it's illegal or not, if they want it down, say fine. If you have a place, do you have a place for me? No. Well then can you leave me there until you get a place for me and then we'll take it down. The kids need a roof over their head. That was all ignored.
And like you have family living in your home place. Obviously, it's a modest dwelling. You know, I suppose you're just saying there's no room for yourself, Evelina, and the kids.
There's no room in the family home for us. No, there's no room in the family home for us. The family home is too small, that type of thing. It's my father was there, my mother was there, my sister was there. My mum sadly passed away, but this was our home. You know, it is what it is now at this stage.
We have been cooperating with South Dublin County Council since the day one we got any paperwork, and we've been always, you know, very responsive, like for any emails. And I've been back then pregnant as well with my second child, and that was the very first time ever in my life when I had to deal with stuff like that. It was very stressful, but I was doing it. I was contacting, I was emailing, I was organizing meetings with local TDs and
John Curran,
try anything, like, you know, to get any help from people. We've been doing all that. We, as Brendan mentioned before, we had special people here coming, like, you know, the all architect stuff and whatever has to be done about the site. We've done all that. We said we will do anything, whatever we supposed to do to make it the way they want it to be, if we can keep it. But never, ever,
nothing positive.
Worked. No.
Nothing positive. They basically had their minds made up. They let us spend all the money on the architects, the engineers and everything, but their mind was already made up. That was clear to see. There was no leadway of anything, nothing. You know, I don't know why, because we went to their planning offices, we had their meetings, we did on a load of discussions.
We've done it in the right way.
We've done everything we could to try and please them, and it just would not work.
So all that's left to you now is you have to, by the end of this month, which is about 2 days away from now, actually take this, what we see behind us here, totally off the ground, or you can be put in prison still.
That's what I've been threatened with, yeah, or a fine, a conviction for non-compliant to a court order, and probably a fine that I probably wouldn't be able to afford to pay, along with whatever else they can try and throw at me as well.
And if you can put a figure on it, how much has this whole process, along with court fees, the cabin, all of it, how much has it cost you?
Well north of 100,000.
100,000 euros?
Well north of 100,000, between court fees, between buying the cabin, putting it in, doing the sewerage, the gardens, the insides, the tiling, everything. Over 100,000 that I'm going to end up putting the best part of it in a skip now, along with the money that was in the courts. It's just dead money. I never got anything out of there either. The courts was just a waste of time. As the first judge even said to me in 2018, he said to me, he said it's wrong what you are doing to this man. He said, but I'm a judge, he says, and my hands are tied here. But he says it's wrong what you're doing. He asked the council to have a place for this family. They just put their heads down on the ground, and he just nodded his head and he just said, I wish you the best of luck, Brendan, in the future, but this is wrong what's happening here today. But yet he said he couldn't grant planning permission because it's a district court, and for me to take that to a higher court, it would cost me a lot of money that I hadn't got to take it to the higher courts, you know. So we're sort of like caught in a place where we can't go back or forward.